What's up, everyone? Gids here, and are you stuck? I mean, stuck in game only. Anyways, usually a lot of people get stuck with whatever they are trying to do, especially in main quest, because main progression for the game is in the main story quest and hard mode chapters for the story quest. So if you are stuck, better call your stepbro. Uh-huh. Wait, if I'm here doing this, am I the stepbro? Fuck. Anyways, a lot of people get stuck when it comes to progression because they will not be able to clear a lot of the chapters for the main story quest. And if you are not able to clear the story quests over here, your conquest will actually be limiting you. But first thing that's actually going to help you with progressing your story quest is to actually farm conquest, right? An easy way to get a lot of power is to just farm your conquest. So for example, you've only cleared up to chapter 6, then you will just be farming for these things, for these equipments right here, and trying to get lucky with whatever it is that you need. Probably you can just farm for the stones or for the equipments and then farm for the stones to level up equipment, right? But if you're already on hard chapters, this is where you can actually start farming for tier 2. So as soon as you unlock tier 2 equipments, you just try to farm for it as much as you can, especially if you are just here on the first one and you can kill the second one. That's a good time to actually transition to tier 2 because again, from my previous video, I already mentioned tier 2 is already better than SSR tier 1s. So as soon as you unlock tier 2, you should be going for tier 2 already. So that's the first place you can actually get a lot of power. Okay, equipments. And also not just power, but just mainly damage reduction, right? Get a lot of defenses, HP, and mitigation, damage mitigation from the enemies because a lot of these bosses actually hit really hard. Okay, a lot of them actually hit really hard. So for example, my case, right? I'm stuck in chapter 2 for hard mode for a while now. I think I've been farming chapter 2 for how many days now? 4 days? Right? So for example, this is my main team, right? This is my main team. It's already way above the recommended CP. But if you're just going this one mindlessly going in, not even thinking about the mechanics or even the elemental advantages, then you're going to have a hard time clearing stuff, right? So for example here, okay, these guys are not really a problem, but you can see the damage is already pretty significant. Someone already dealt almost 10% of my HP here. And here comes the boss. We're just gonna let it play on auto for now. And you can see here, ooh, that hurts. Okay, 50% HP already and down to 25% HP and I'm almost dead, right? So one thing that you can do, sometimes you can actually clear some of the hard stages in main story quest by just trying to do it on auto, some manual, not auto, right? So what you can do is play your melee character with a taunt. So for example, we have push out over here with a taunt. What we do is to just try to run around and kite, right? Hit and kite, hit and kite. That's all that you really want to do, especially if the bosses hit hard. And then while you're doing that, you also want secondary DPSs, right? In your team, like for example, Kiwi on my side and Karte to be dealing a lot of damage. But right now, it's not looking like they're dealing a lot of damage because again, elemental advantage on Kiwi here. So it just makes sense to actually transfer or do something else with your team, right? So my current comp right now is not really working. We're not dealing a lot of damage and we're not really tanking a lot of damage. So that's not gonna work. So what are you going to do? Of course, first, again, power up your main character. GRAN weapons first and then artifacts if you have the materials, equipments as well. And then I mentioned this one earlier that you don't really want to be upgrading your arcane items. Actually, I retract that statement. If you're actually stuck, then better yet level it up because it's still possible for you to disassemble this one. And again, the rare ones, actually the rare arcane items are actually pretty okay and they don't really consume a lot of level up materials. So I think it consumes around 200 of the level up materials to get them to level 80. Getting them to level 80 gives you 2,500 attack and 9k max HP. And here's something you want to consider when you're doing this one. And it's just going to be on conquest, right? For example, you started on chapter 2 hard and you can only clear the first boss right here. You can see on the drop rates that you're only really going to be drop tier 1 rares, right? Even until you reach the last of chapter 2 and you're already stuck in chapter 2 anyway. So if you're gonna be stuck on this tier for a while, then why not just upgrade this one? And it actually does make sense. Actually does make sense. It's the same thing with equipments. I remember mentioning that you should not be maxing it out. Well, if you really need the power up right now, it's fine, right? It's fine. It actually makes sense to be upgrading this one. Like for example, this one, right? I saw I was taking so much damage from that boss, and this one actually gives me, oh, you have an announcement. Anyways, I see this one actually gives me 500 defense and 100 attack mitigation, which is actually pretty nice since I don't have enough survivability against the current boss that I'm facing. And my Fuxiao is supposed to be tanking it, but it's not, right? So it actually makes sense to get some upgrades right here on your equipments as well. So yeah, those are some things that you want to be considering, okay? So if you are getting stuck, then probably get some upgrades anywhere you can. And one other significant upgrade or location that you can get is potentials, of course. Potentials gives you so many power upgrades for your characters, and if you can actually get those upgrades, right? For example, here I have 2 points, 2 PPs, why not, right? Defense is pretty nice. Let's just go for it. This one is block damage reduction. Let's just go for defense. Flat defense is always pretty good. And that's already almost a plus 1000 CP. And then secondary DPSs like, for example, Kiwi and Karte here can also just get some of those increased attacks, right? This one gives me max MP? Sure. It lets us cast more? Sure. Why not? Right? But yeah, those are the things that you can do. And of course, another thing is if you are really struggling, you might want to reconsider your team comp, right? So earlier you saw my team comp, it's just my default one, right? Fuxiao, Kiwi, and Karte, but you saw it was not really dealing a lot of damage. So what you can do is to just swap equipments. For example, Kiwi here has shared equipments with Seriad, and Seriad is actually a very decent healer and support. And if you give her these equipments right here and probably these artifacts, she could probably perform well. So an easy way to do that is to just unequip everything on your Kiwi and transfer over to Seriad right here and auto-equip. And she's basically going to take all the equipment that you previously had on Kiwi, or maybe even some that you don't really need, like for example this one, right? Because I think we had fire damage on Kiwi, that's why we're auto-equipping with this. So this one makes sense, right? This one's probably going to make sense. Next thing is also Karte was not dealing a lot of damage, so you might want to build up Wind right here. Wind is Earth element, and again, elemental advantage might come in place here, and it's actually going to help you take down the boss because of the break mechanic, right? It's not a conquest. Break mechanic, right? Because the boss usually will have break mechanic on them, right? And getting them to break will actually help you deal a lot of damage to your enemies, right? So right now my power is not looking good, but again, change of rosters is sometimes actually needed for you to be able to advance, even though you see the current CP right here is not as high. Okay? Some other things you want to be doing is probably just clearing all your side quests, because there's a lot of resources you can get, like summon resources as well in the form of diamonds. And yeah, a lot of summons. Basically, it's gonna help upgrade your GRAN weapons and artifacts. Another thing is what I've done for the last boss of the hard chapter 1 is to basically get Rage Potion. Rage Potion will basically give you 5% attack for 30 seconds. And if you are lacking damage instead of survivability, I would recommend putting this one over an HP potion, especially if you can dodge. If you can just manually dodge all of the opponent's hit or the boss's damage, then you can just put this one in and have your team deal so much damage instead of actually trying to tank it without having any damage. Okay, so if damage is a problem, put in Rage Potion. But of course, if it's survivability that's a problem, then it's the HP potion. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it. All the things that you can do, of course, like again, if the main character or your main roster is not working, try working on your other characters and giving them the stuff. Even this one, right? Even my Kiwi here actually has upgraded equipments and everything. And then third character is actually almost getting upgraded as well. Max stats on gear. well, it makes sense to actually just upgrade equipments for different classes, right? So this one's assassin class, and his equipment, Karte's equipment, is shareable with Namari. So if ever I need a ranged DPS, I can just again take all his equipment and transfer it there. Again, with QE, her equipment can be transferred over to Seriad. Only one that I don't have a second copy of equipments is this one right here with Fushao, of course, because I'm never gonna take Fushao off of my team, right? You can probably make an argument to upgrade another tank character like either Last or Win and have them share equipment. I mean, that's definitely possible, viable, if you want to do that, okay? But mainly, all the stuff that I talked about are basically what you want to be doing. And again, you're gonna want to be farming Conquest a lot. Like, Conquest is gonna give you a lot, and also, I guess, order skill, right? Leveling up your order level and probably trying to cater this one to whatever it is that you need. I think, yeah, skill damage is fine. Defense, nah, defense is not that good. We just keep going with a lot of damage. Increase damage by 3%. You can actually go with this one as well, boss increase. Like, there's not a lot of differences whenever you make changes here. So physical damage, if your team is full of physical DPSs, then just go with physical damage, right? So you can adjust this thing anytime. And if you are getting a lot of levels, then yeah, definitely try to check that one out. Gonna give some adjustments and a little bit of power for your team. Okay. Anyways, that's it for me. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, let me know in the comments below. If this video was helpful, leave a like and subscribe if you have not yet for more Grand Saga content. And I'll see you guys again next time. Bye-bye.